Last week we went on a prayer walk. There's 33 streets in this community. There's 1 mile, 1 square mile in the radius from Wood Forest all the way to I-10, from Beltway 8 all the way to Freeport. We divided those 33 streets between the 77 people that were willing to come alongside of us, and we just walked down the street. We didn't knock any doors. We didn't talk to anybody for the most part. We just talked to God about that community. Now, pictures are usually worth 1,000 words, but testimonies to me are worth 10,000 words. And so I want to invite you to listen to some of the people that had special experiences on that afternoon.
So I honestly, like, this is, when I heard this, I was like, man, this is my middle mole, because I love to talk to people. I love to, this is what I love to do, honestly. Evangelism is, I think, one of my gifts. But me and my mother-in-law, we went together, and at the very end, we reached a bar, and automatically, like, you start thinking, like, man, especially in the streets, there's, like, prostitution, there's, drugs, they sell people there, all these things, right? But my mother-in-law started praying, and, like, if you know anything about, at least me and my dad's testimony, is he was an alcoholic, and now that I'm thinking about this, like, when Pastor had texted me, I was thinking to myself, my dad could have died of alcoholism because he was already getting those spots, like the psoriasis. And my mother-in-law's son died from alcoholism and drugs. And when she was praying for that bar, I was like, wow, like, she was saying, alcohol is killing people, alcohol is dividing families, alcohol is splitting up people, alcohol is doing these, drugs is killing kids, is teaching kids to do other things that they don't probably want to do. And the fact that she was, like, not even crying and, like, just spiritually fighting, I was like, wow, God, like, you were doing something in her that moved my heart so much, and then you walk and you see, like we saw gun shows and all that stuff, and I was like, this community really needs us to do what we're doing right now. It was like a blessing to my life. But we felt that there was a lot of alcoholism. We saw, like, maybe like 4 houses where people, like, at 10 in the morning were already drinking with their friends. And I'm like, man, it's like, I remember seeing them with my dad, and it's crazy because, we've been here for almost since 2012. I don't know how many years that is, but the fact that I don't see my dad do that anymore is like, you kind of forget, that people go through what we went through, So yeah, people do need us to do this and to continue to do this for them, because we're called to do this.
I'm Brisa, and I went on the prayer walk with Caleb, Sam, and Jacob Flores. So we had Bandera Street, and it was honestly pretty quiet. Like, I know Candy said that she's seen, like, a bar and, like, people walking around and people already drinking, but our street, I feel like the most we had to worry about was dogs, really. But what was put on my heart was that I needed to have a bigger heart for compassion, because I saw a lot of the houses, and some of them were, like, houses that were taken care of, and then some of them were people just let them go and they really didn't care about the circumstances that they were in. So I wanted to pray about circumstance for the people, because I feel like in Cloverleaf, like, I honestly, like, the way Pastor said that he had seen the house that was across the street from the church and how he hated it, I kind of felt like that too sometimes, because it was like, do they not care? Or the things that the youth are seeing, like, they should be more aware of it. I feel like whenever we pray for circumstance, it softens people's hearts, because people are in the place that they're in because of what they've been through, and then they lose sight of Jesus. So whenever we were walking down the street, I was praying God to take away any judgments that I had, any biases that I had, and then I did feel softer. I felt ashamed that, like, I haven't been praying whenever I should have been praying. So that was one thing that really, like, stood out to me. I think it really, like, helped me exercise my being used, because, like, I started coming to this church in, like, July, so I didn't think I would be standing in front of y'all talking about it, but I think it's a true blessing that we all need to share and we all need to partake in. So I think that it was good to exercise it and to really be used by God, and we need to keep on doing that, because I feel like this walk is going to open me up to do more things like that, even just on my own.
So I did this walk with my girls, Nadia, Sophia, and my niece. When I started the walk, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be the only one, praying. As we were walking, like Eric said, like we started walking down the street, and we asked God to, reveal to us what we needed to pray about. So we walked all the way to the end. Our street was Gainesville. So we walked all the way to the end. At the end, there was some apartments. And as soon as I got there, and as I was approaching the apartments, I started to feel like we had to pray for the kids. But I asked Nadia, because I wanted to see if she had like the same feeling as I. And so I asked her, I said, so what are you feeling? She goes, I feel like we need to pray for the kids. And I was like, okay. And so we started praying for the kids. And then when we were walking back, and I was like, what do you feel? And she's like, I just feel like there's a lot of loneliness. Like they're alone, and you know, they're in these apartments, and the only thing that they have is each other. You know, they go outside and they play, and I was like, I feel the same way. So we started walking back. Well, we got to the park, and Sophia started praying. She was like, I'm gonna pray for the park. And I was like, what? I mean, honestly, just to hear the way she prayed, I was like, wow. Like, it was something that I seen in her that I had never seen before. Like, she had these, like, just the perfect words, you know, like her prayer was just, it made sense. And for, you know, for a little girl of 10 years old, I was shocked. And at the same time, like, I realized the potential that she has also, and how God can use her. And the same thing happened like with Candy. You know, we've seen a lot of drinking and so early in the morning, and that was a comment that Sophia made, like, I cannot believe that people wake up so early, you know, drinking. And I was like, yes, mommy, they do, you know. So we started praying about that too. And yeah, it was a good experience. I really liked it. I'm glad that they were able to enjoy it. And like Brisa said, it's something that we can, it's just a start, you know, something that we can continue, and we can do it in other places.
I was super privileged to be grouped with the young Miss Yari, Jocelyn, and her brother David. So it was super cold. We were all layered up, so we were like ready. Some of us were super scared to walk down Cloverleaf, but we were blessed to be on the River Oaks side of Cloverleaf. We were talking about how Pastor was saying that the youth was going to finish like in 15 minutes. They were going to like power walk that mile. But we actually did 3 miles in 40 minutes, and 3.4 miles, and we did it in 2 hours and 25 minutes according to my app. And we literally, so our street was Evanston, and all the houses are like facing, they're not really facing Evanston, they're facing that actual street, the other intersecting street. So we would just kind of like stand there and we'd pray. We're praying for this whole block going this way. So we get extra brownie points for praying for all these additional streets too. And what I actually thought was amazing is that we started taking turns in, you know, like each one of us, and like everybody else is saying, like we were just prompt, like, you know, we just, like Jocelyn said, like I feel like a lot of anger here, so she like prayed for anger. And Jocelyn, like she was Yadis was praying for like generational curses, and I'm all like, these kids are younger than me, like I'm old enough to be their moms, and they're like praying way better than me. But it was awesome because we noticed how some of the houses were very manicured, and then we saw how some of the houses were like really let go. So we were eventually praying for finances, property taxes, jobs. People also, I felt alone and unloved. So we were praying for all of that. And I just thought it was amazing because it was my first one. And I'm actually considering, because, you know, I try to go walk as much as possible. And I really thought at that point, I was like, wow, I've been walking for a very long time, and I never thought about praying for whatever my surroundings are. And when we actually made it all the way to I-10, we prayed for those businesses there. There was an officer that was parked in the Taco Cabana parking lot. So we prayed for law enforcement too. So we did a lot of prayer covering, and I'm just very proud of the group that I was with, because they're all in their early 20s, and they went out there, they got up on an early Sunday morning and gave that up, which I think that's great.
Okay, so the first point was when we were walking to our street. We were walking and we had a pamphlet, and there was a mailbox open, and Juji was like, oh, I'm just gonna put it in there, you know, so they can see it later. And this dude just comes out at 10 in the morning just screaming at us like, hey, what'd you put in my mailbox? Like, just going crazy on us. So I think that was, we wanted to pray for peace for them, because there's no reason someone should be that on edge at 10 in the morning, like for like a pamphlet too. And then the second point we had was lack of security. Like, yeah, because we're walking through the street and there's just a million dogs just barking at us. And then they have like signs that says beware of dogs and stuff. And then like there's the sweetest dog with that sign right next to it. So I was like, what the heck? And the third one was a sense of trust / being suspicious of everyone. So when we were walking back from the walk, when the cars would stop at the stop sign, I don't know why, we were just, I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go hand them a pamphlet. Because they're stopping, they're waiting for us to walk, like, oh, hey, like, I'm gonna hand you this pamphlet, right? And I walked up to this lady, I thought she saw me, like, cause, I don't know, she just stopped. And she, like, got startled, like, she got scared, like, whoa, like, what are you doing? She was like, hey, like, we don't do that in Cloverleaf. I was like, whoa, like, dang. But then I explained to her about, like, the church and stuff, and she was like, oh, like, I might come someday. So I was like, okay. And there was another guy I did it to him, too, and he was looking at me crazy, like, I was some freaking weirdo. And he didn't speak no type of English either, so I was just like, oh, this, and he was just like, I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I said Iglesia. He was like, oh, okay, and gave it to him. But yeah, that's the things we got from that.
He said, I'm not gonna drop the mic, I'm gonna just walk off from it.